I mean, it's the easiest path for the structures that be, for editorial boards, for prize commissions, for university faculties, for newspaper op-ed writers, for the easiest path for TV talking heads is to patronize and placate these screaming black people who are going around crying about racism, racism, racism. That is much easier than actually doing the work of developing the functioning capacities of the people in the African American population, along with everybody else in America.
People are doing that work. I do that work. A lot of people do it. It's amazing to me how easily these two just delete people from existence. You know, like, I don't know if they're doing it on purpose. I don't know if they realize that what's going on out here in the world, but it's disturbing to me, because if you don't know, then you shouldn't be speaking on it. And if you do know, then you should be speaking on it. But you should speak on it the way things are actually happening, the way reality actually exists. And if you don't know how it exists, then don't speak on it, because you just delete people from existence who are really trying to make positive changes in people's lives. You know, I could go on and on and on about the students I've had in just the last 2 years, black students who I've had, who, you know, I've made all kinds of inroads with them through mentoring, through teaching them mathematics, through having conversations about how they should navigate institutions, how they should be making decisions if they want to achieve the goals that they've set for themselves, different things like that. You just are pretending like none of that is happening and that nobody's doing that work, but plenty of people are out here doing it.
Society, but in terms of racial disparities, racial differences, racial inequality, it's much easier. I mean,
You know, I just think that I also wanted to be clear. It's not like I'm not forging any frontiers like Einstein, but I am subject. It's important. I'm subject to critique, and partly because some of my ideas are, I wouldn't call them racist, but they're un-PC, and this includes in linguistics, as we've talked about. I get subject to real critique, not only by black authors and scholars, but by white ones. And then, of course, on my race stuff, I hear where I'm going wrong, and it makes you stronger. You think to yourself, you wipe yourself off, and you think that person's actually right to an extent, and I could make my argument stronger by putting it that way. That's what I think both of us have gone through. That's what being an academic and or a public intellectual is supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to adapt. You're supposed to be building. I like that there are people who criticize my ideas both in and outside of academia, but there seems to be this general idea that if the black scholar, the black public intellectual is, saying a proper woke thing, you don't actually subject what they're saying to any kind of intelligent critique, because somehow that's a tort.
What is the proper woke thing? What is he saying? He obviously has some idea in his head about something going on, but it's very nebulous. And every time he tries to bring it up, it's very ambiguous.
How about this? The whole vocation of public intellectual is somehow wrongly construed here, such that people like Ibram X. Kendi could be as lionized and successful practitioners of that function. Here's what it should be. You should be a master of some discipline. You should be an economist of the first rank.
Yeah.
You should be a linguist who has a very good publication record in referee journals with a lot of citations. You should be a physicist who has actually mastered physics, or a literary critic who's read the great books and written a few of them, who then take this mastery that you have acquired through decades of disciplined study and turn your attention, informed by it, to the great questions of the day. Your essay should appear in the New York Review of Books the way the New York Review of Books used to be. Okay? And only then should you be anointed a public intellectual. Okay? Quote unquote. Worth listening to, worth $10 million or $20 million falling on your center, worth being lionized and awarded and said to be the next whatever. Only then. You ought to have fucking done something. You ought to have command of a height from which you can survey. Here's the deal. He's a lightweight, John. He's a lightweight. That's the deal. Where is the erudition? Where is the subtle interpretation of a canonical text? Where is the sustained argument? Where's the insight? Where's the mastery? He's a lightweight.
I just found that to be extremely elitist. We are talking about a historian here, and he did write a substantial and significant historical text, which is why he won the National Book Award. It's a text that you haven't read, so maybe that's why you had that perspective on him. I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know the truth. But it just sounded like you're upset that he gained popularity based on what he's talking about and his command of the subject matter, which obviously you don't think is very strong. So it just sounds like jealousy, to be honest, or envy.